Yes, the Lotus is still here, so let me tell you what's going on with it. Hello, and thanks for spending some time with me today. I thought I would do an update on what's going on with the Lotus. It's been a few weeks since I've done any episode on them, and quite honestly, there isn't a lot of any progress on it per se, other than I'm working through the parts. Now, it's not out of the ordinary to have a long time getting parts for old cars and figuring out what you need and trying to find them. So I'm going through that. Now, something of interest, I think, is even though I'm having trouble getting all the parts, this is a 1989 car. And yeah, I wish I could get them all. But considering how many of these were made, you know, the 10,000 that were ever made in existence, you think there wouldn't be a lot of parts even to find at all, especially for the body components that I need. And I've been dealing with cars like these Eagle Talons, and they made, 30,000 a year in some years of these Eagle Talons. And I can actually get more parts for this than I can for that as far as the body goes. And the powertrain itself, actually you can get almost everything for these cars. And people are fabricating stuff for these, which is cool. When you think of a lot of the muscle cars like the Camaros and that people can get any part right now, yeah, they were mass produced basically. These don't have a lot of numbers out there, so people are making a lot of money when they try to make parts. Now, there is some premium on some parts out there for the cost, but overall for what this is, being a bit of a supercar, and where the parts got to come from and the limited volume that they're going to produce, actually they're not bad priced. You'll probably, maybe some of you are wondering what parts, typical parts that I'm ordering. Well, I've got over 100 parts that I'm trying to get through right now, and honestly, I've probably got 5 of the parts that I can't get so far, but I'm not even giving up. And those parts I can probably fabricate if I need to. It does take some time, and that's cool as well. It's not like I'm stuck. So let's talk about some of these parts that I'm looking for. And I won't get into all the details of the 100 parts, but I've covered some of this before, but I'll just redo some of it, as well as maybe bring some stuff to light that you didn't realize I was trying to get. So I have told you that I'm trying to put these gas flaps back in. I have found almost all the parts to get those in. I still got a lot of work to do to get them to fit, but I can get those, which is great. So I've got them, and that condenses up to, I don't know how many parts it is per side. It's like 5 or 6 parts per side, including the flap, but there's the latch, the springs, and etc. What else I'm looking for is I'm going to change to a glass sunroof. It's got the solid sunroof right now, but I want to get the glass sunroof, so I'm going to get that. One struggle has been a windshield. I'm in Canada, so I have not found any supplier in Canada that can give a windshield to this car. Not a big surprise, considering there was probably only a few hundred ever sold in this country. I don't know how many have imported and how many people need windshields, and I hear that windshields are getting hard to find in North America, and they got to get shipped from the UK, which is probably where I'm getting mine as well. So the windshield has been a bit of a struggle. I'm worried about getting it here because it might break, so we're going to insure it and have a crate made and all that stuff for it. But so the windshields have been a tough one. Be careful, don't break your windshield. That's what happened to this one before me, apparently, is something, I don't know if something dropped on it when it was being moved or something, but it was purely accidental, obviously. But it now is going to cost a bit to get one, and worried about it not making it here in one piece is an issue. So those are 2 big things that I'm trying to get. I'm getting some stuff that I have looked over for the engine itself, and I'm getting all the belts. I'm going to get a water pump kit. I'm going to get a gasket set for the engine, just so that can be all taken care of in case it ever did leak. I didn't know, in fact, this did leak by looking at it. So I just got my list here of parts of what I'm looking for, and I'll go through a few of them rather than just kind of glance over the car and jump all over the place. A lot of them, honestly, are body parts. I did talk about mechanical a bit there earlier. There's going to be a few more things that I'm going to want from it too. but just there'll be enough to get me going to do the regular maintenance stuff at least on it as well. I'm looking for the best exhaust for this, and I still want to go with a split one. Uh-oh. So I'm looking for an exhaust for this, and I still want to go with a split one, but replace the one that it has right now. Getting one for this particular 4-cylinder with the bumper that I have, going to be a bit of a custom fit, but I think I found a supplier for that, and finding one reasonable as well, and I want to go stainless, so that's something I've been working through. The downpipe, actually I'll call it, that's coming from the turbo to the exhaust itself, I'm getting that, which will get rid of that back pressure valve I mentioned in an episode before this. There are various, I think you've seen in other videos where I was able to take and salvage all the warning labels and all that, and I want to keep this truck as kind of original as I can. So places make those, so and they aren't that much money, so I'm going to get those as well rather than try and reuse the ones that I took off. They'll work, but if I can get brand new looking ones, even better. So I've ordered those. I've ordered some interior parts. I've heard the heater control panel you can still get, which is pretty cool. So things like side markers. I need a couple red ones for the back, and I'm ordering those. I'm refreshing the Lotus badge on the front, on the center caps of the wheels. I'm going to get the proper Lotus decals that go on here for Lotus Esprit Turbo on the windows here. Something for the interior, there's a company in the UK that makes the complete carpet set for it. So I'm going to do that. This one is pretty rotten, to be honest. It just tears so easy, and it stinks, and it's wrecked. So I'm going to get some matching floor mats for it as well. So that's going to sharpen up things a lot. The whole interior itself is actually in pretty good shape. I'm going to rejuvenate it a bit, and you can see that in previous episodes, but I think I'm going to be okay with that. The steering wheel, I got to do a little work on that, but we can get most of this going, I think. Something, I'm going to get all the hoses for it, most of the cooling hoses. There's a kit, a silicone hose kit I'm going to get for it. You still can get the originals, but I think if I can go with silicone, that'll look a lot nicer. But yeah, you can still order the originals, which is really nice to see for those of you that are looking for them out there, and a few vendors have those as well. Now, in case you're wondering what vendors I'm working with on parts, mainly it's been JE in California since I'm in Canada, and they're in the US, as well as SJ Sports Cars in the UK. And they also work together as well, and they also work with other vendors. Most of them are in the UK. Actually, all of the rest of them are in the UK that I found. I did find one of the USA one, but I haven't worked with them much yet. But those are the two main vendors, and then they're able to find other suppliers for stuff as well. They work directly with Lotus on top of it. It seems like SJ does a lot of that for sure. Of course, he's right in the UK. I don't know how close they are to Lotus, but physically in the world, they're pretty close, obviously. Steve at SJ Sports Cars, who's been working there, he's been great. And Joe at JE has been great as well in California. So they've both been wonderful to work with so far, and all about getting me what I need and what I want, and making the most efficient way of getting it to me as well. So all the bushings, I got a bushing set coming, polyurethane bushings I'm going to do, because I think it's a little bit, it's old, it's been sitting a long time, and it's got some miles on it as well on this one. I think if I remember right, I think it was 60,000 miles. I got it right here. Let me look. 70,000 miles were on this car. So given its age and everything, time to replace the bushing. So I'm going to do that. I have decided I'm not going to do anything with the suspension at this time. I had a really good comment or a few comments from people saying, don't do that right now. See how it is. And because you can always change that without the body off. So it's easy to do later. I am going to clean them up, and a friend of mine commented on something that made sense completely is, let's see what these cars felt like when they were produced with the factory parts. And I want to do that, and if I want to upgrade, I will. But for now, I'm going to leave that in there. So we're going to leave that untouched. I need a wheel bearing on this corner right here. The rest are fine, so I'm going to do a wheel bearing. That was easy to find. They're actually pretty reasonable. Brake lines, I'm going to go with steel braided, and I got a clutch line already, so I don't need that, but I just feel that's something I do want to do. I could leave the rubber ones in. I think it's just good to do, so I'm going to do that. Fuel tanks, need to replace those. Again, in previous episodes, you can certainly see what they look like, and I could get them reconditioned, but for the price of getting the new aluminum ones that are done up, they'll work fine, and it'll clean up really nice in there and look good. So yeah, getting the tanks as well. Little things like the tailgate release button and cable and so that they've seen better days, so I'm going to get those because you can still get them. That's great if I can get stuff like that. Otherwise I'd have to fabricate it later or use the old stuff, but if I can get some new stuff like that, I'm going to do it. And yeah, they're available, so that was awesome. I'm going to get the some of the vent tubing is kind of wrecked or really dirty, including from the air cleaner itself going to the compressor of the turbocharger, and then the ductwork coming in from the vents up here going in. I'm going to get some of that as well, so I can replace that as well and make it shiny new. For those of you that have watched the previous episodes as well, you've seen that I broke my oil cooler when I was trying to remove it, so I need a new one of them, which is just as well anyway, because that one was kind of old looking. Probably well, it still is functional, but it's a front piece, so I want it to look nice anyway. Yeah, I could have painted it, but painting it sometimes clogs up the cooling ability of it when you put paint on it. It works as an insulator, which you don't want on fins. So anyway, I'm getting a new one of them. You can get that, which is great. So that's also going to be ordered. For the injectors, I'm going to get new O-rings because I'm sure they're hard and brittle and could leak right now. And you don't want them because that's also part of the turbocharged compression. You don't want anything to be leaking there as far as coming back, or fuel getting out, I guess, if that's possible too. But yeah, so I'm replacing those as well. Tailgates, bonnet, struts, getting those. Yeah, I think I mentioned a lot of highlights, a lot of little pieces, not so much hardware because I can get that. I have a lot of that already in my own little stock here, and I can get more from local suppliers actually for that. So if the roll nuts and stuff like that, can get those elsewhere. I don't need to pay $1 for something when I can get probably something for 5 cents somewhere else, and it's the identical part number, but they're dealing with the volume and that's all they do. So I do recommend hardwares. Go to a hardware store, find exactly what you need. There's online stores you can't get them, and it'll be probably 10%, 5% of what it would be from a specific vendor out there that deals with Esprit parts, because they're buying little quantities and it does cost a little processing, administration, and shipping and all that stuff to work it out. So they got to mark it up appropriately. It's not a dig, that's just the way it is. But if you deal with a supplier that does all they do is hardware, it's probably going to be cheaper because that's all they deal with, right? So this is not extensive what I just mentioned, nor is it extensive what I'm finished, but this is going to get me off the ground again because I'm a bit of a halt right now on how to move forward. And I'll talk about how to move forward in a second, but I'll talk about shipping as well. So shipping from the UK to me is expensive. I think it's shipping from anywhere across the ocean right now is expensive. I did consider, because JE deals with SJ a lot, it's actually almost was cheaper for them. Well, it is cheaper for them to ship to the US from SJ to the US, and then we from Canada to drive there. And with gas and hotels, it's still cheaper to do that. Not by a ton, but it still is. And it's just the way the costs are of the volume that they do every week and how much they get. And I'm just one guy in Canada. In both cases, I shouldn't pay any duty, taxes and all that, just because of the way our laws are here for vintage cars, for example. So I should be okay there, but it's been a little bit of trying to figure out what is the best thing to try and get parts. Do I get everything shipped to JE and get some of their stuff, and SJ's shipped to them, and then JE's kind of in the middle of SJ, which isn't great either when you got two companies working like that. And they do work together, but I had to make a decision there. And today I did make a decision that I'm going to just get it direct from the UK. It makes sense, just the way the pricing are. They've worked with me a bit on that as well, and I'm very appreciative of that. What is next other than getting these parts? And these parts are going to take a few months to get in. They don't stock all these in, I'm finding out. Either of them do. So they're going to take probably a couple months to get their parts all lined up for my shipment, and I only want to do one shipment, so to get that all together. So that's 2 months away. I'm going to give them another couple of weeks because, you know, when someone says 2 months, there's always complications that happen. So let's say it's going to be 2.5 months. Then they have to put it together, and then they have to ship to me. Now, shipping to me, I'm sure will take a week or two. Depends on customs, which I might self-clear to save some money there. We'll figure that out as we go. And it's probably going to be at least another month, I'm thinking. So we're looking at 3.5 months to get this in. That brings us clear into late spring to start applying those parts on here. And for those that aren't caught up, I am getting this fully painted, but before I get this fully painted and give this to me, I got some work to do. I got some work to do on those filler flaps. That's one, because I got to change it out before I get painted and put that in. If you want to catch up on what they did to the back here, I got to change some stuff there. I could work on the back end right now, but the reason I'm not is because I don't like when I'm dealing with fiberglass and trying to cut all that out in the back there to get the original look again, it's going to get this whole place full of fiberglass dust in no time at all. If any of you have worked on stuff like that, it's worse than just sanding normal steel and doing that. So I'm going to do that outside. And being in Canada, for those of you that live here, and most of you in the world are familiar with Canada, it is January right now. Going to be February right away, I guess. And it'll be February when this comes out. But it's cold here, and it's too cold to be working outside. We are in Celsius. We're averaging anywhere from minus 10 to minus 30 right now, and you don't want to work outside like that. So I'm not going to do any of that till, let's say, it warms up in a couple months, and then I can get out there. That leaves not a lot I can do with this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wheel this out into an enclosed trailer I got out there for now, and then I'm going to bring in some other cars to work on that, get them ready for spring to drive and maybe sell some of them as well. As far as underneath, what we have here is the chassis. Same type of thing, little difference because I could pull the engine out right now, and the reason I'm not doing that is because as soon as I start doing things like that, I start making it not a roller anymore, and right now it's really nice to roll out of the way and trying to keep as much room in here to work on other stuff as I can. So I am not going to touch the engine right now or any of this until I can concentrate on it and I get this off for paint. So that means I can't do anything more for a couple months on this other than get the parts with my logistics of doing it. For those of you that are watching this series, and a lot of you are very dedicated to it, I will continue on, but I don't think I'm just going to say, hey, I've got something here and talk like this for 10, 20 minutes, I guess, about nothing, because nothing's happened, unless something does happen. But probably it's going to be a couple months before I get my next video on this. I don't want to scare you away, but I know some of you are really only watching the channel for the Lotus and not the other stuff I do. And if you are interested in the other stuff I do, which to me it's all related, you're welcome to watch that, because I still will have videos every week on the stuff that I've been doing, like I have done in the last few weeks, and fillers here and there between the Lotus. And there's lots of cars, lots of information, and a lot of it's applicable to every car out there. So I suggest you join the other stuff as well if you aren't. But if you exclusively are only worried about the Lotus series, and it unfortunately will be a couple months, but I will continue on with it. There is a lot of work, a lot of videos on this to get this thing back to where it needs to be and to make it perfect as a restoration that I'm doing. And I thank you for joining me in the future and hanging tight. It's probably going to be at least a year or two of, I'm going to say a year anyway, of getting this thing to where it's on the road and pulling down it. And I hope you're along the way through the whole ride with me. So thanks for that. And so as far as other cars that I'm working on, you've seen the Eagle Talons, the DSMs that I work on. they'll be continued on. I have a number of them, as you probably have seen from the other episodes. I've done a few things with my new Ford Ranger as well, and I may do some more little accessories on that. We'll see. I've got an RV. I might even do some stuff. So there might be some cool RV things that I'm going to do on my RV that I might show as well in the spring for those of you that camp a little bit out there. Lots going on in the next couple months. Just won't be the Lotus, but stay patient for that. I want to get it done too. Just all time, like all projects are. With that, thanks so much for joining me on Slipping Time today. Really happy with the response on doing this series. Met some really good people from the comments and privately messaging me and emails back and forth. Great community out there. It's growing, it seems, which is awesome. And I just want to thank you all for all the support out there. It's been a wonderful experience doing this, and I'm glad a lot of you are getting some benefit out of this, either entertainment, enjoyment, and maybe some what to do or how to do or what not to do, depending how you look at some of the things that I've been doing. It's all out there for your enjoyment, your interest, or whatever you get out of it. So, and any comments you want to put down on suggestions to do in the meantime till I get back at it, I'm all for that too. If there's anything I miss, it's for you, not just me doing this, obviously. It's got to be worth your while. And so let me know what you want to see. Of course, enjoy every day and always make it right.